I'm going to retire from boxing before I let boxing retire me.
That I'm not comfortable with. You know, I had a great career. You know, I've done some tremendous things in the sport of boxing. I made a lot of history. You know, what can I not be proud of if I walked away from the sport right now? You know, I don't have no regrets because everything that I did it my way. So if I was to walk away from the sport right now.
Bud Crawford has officially walked away from boxing after months of tension, lawsuits, and public feuds with the WBC. The undisputed pound-for-pound king of boxing has stepped away from the sport that turned him into a legend.
Retire, Bud. Retire, Bud. It's over. You ain't got nothing else to prove. Let's go fishing, Bud. Let's go fishing, Bud. Retire. Yeah. It's over with.
A man who dominated 3 weight divisions, unified titles, and carried himself with quiet confidence is done gone, retired, stripped of his title, accused of breaking contracts and called out by legends. Crawford says the sport he gave everything to, the one he bled for, has finally broken him. So, what really happened behind the scenes? What pushed one of the greatest fighters of our generation to lay down his gloves, not in defeat, but in defiance? Let's break down the real story behind Terence Crawford's shocking exit, a story of betrayal, power, and principle that has rocked the boxing world.
You know, I always said that I'm going to retire on my own terms. And I'm going to feel good because everything that I did it my way.
All began with one stunning announcement. On December 3rd, 2025, the WBC officially stripped Terence "Bud" Crawford of his world super middleweight title, a decision that sent shockwaves through the boxing community. Their reasoning: Crawford refused to pay sanctioning fees for his last 2 fights, including his blockbuster $50 million showdown with Canelo Alvarez.
He never paid the sanction fees for that fight. His next fight was Canelo Alvarez. He fought for the WBC title as well as the other 3 organizations, and he won the WBC title and the undisputed. He became undisputed, and he did not pay the sanction fees for the fight.
It's like that. The man who conquered the sport lost his crown, his undisputed status vanished, his title revoked, his relationship with the WBC shattered beyond repair. But as dramatic as it sounds, insiders say this was no sudden collapse.
He did not comply with the rules. Then he moves up to super middle and makes the fight of the century, beats Canelo, makes $50 million or around that. The WBC absolutely is not going to charge 3% of such an amount. We made a very clear 0.6%, which is $300,000.
Then the headlines. Crawford's frustration had been building for years, simmering beneath the surface through broken promises, shady politics, and a sport that often punishes the very fighters who elevate it. Crawford wasn't just fighting opponents in the ring anymore. He was fighting the system. Even before the WBC drama erupted, Crawford was already knee-deep in another battle, this one in the courtroom. A lawsuit that pitted him against one of boxing's most powerful figures, promoter Bob Arum, and his company, Top Rank. In his explosive complaint, Crawford accused Arum of breach of contract, fraud, and even racial bias.
I wanted to give a real quick snippet of what I just found out. So Terence "Bud" Crawford just filed a lawsuit against Top Rank and Bob Arum, claiming racism and bias against black fighters.
According to Crawford, Top Rank promised to secure a unification fight with Errol Spence Jr., about fans had demanded for years, and failed to deliver. Crawford alleged that in 2019 he had an agreement stating that if Arum didn't make a good faith offer to Spence by the end of 2020, he would be paid $900,000. That payment, Crawford said, never came. Instead, he was left in limbo, frozen out of the biggest fight of his career. While Arum allegedly focused on other stars, a bombshell accusation followed. Crawford claimed Arum continued to make racist and bigoted statements that damaged the reputations of black fighters, including himself.
Terence Crawford is actually asking for $10 million in damages. He's basically stating that none of the fighters want to speak up. They don't want to say anything.
Arum fired back aggressively, calling the lawsuit frivolous and reckless. He said, "Crawford's accusations are vile. I've spent my entire career promoting fighters of color. This lawsuit is nothing but a malicious extortion attempt. The legal war between the two men marked the beginning of the end of line, drawn in the sand between fighter and promoter. Crawford left Top Rank shortly after, vowing to go independent and build his legacy on his own terms. But instead of freedom, he walked straight into another storm when the WBC stripped him of his title. Crawford didn't stay silent. He went nuclear.
For sanction fees, right? Then he gonna tell me I ain't even apologize? Like, who the fuck you think I am? Boy, you better slap your fucking self and paying your ass shit.
8-minute viral video that shook social media. Crawford torched the WBC, calling their belts meaningless trophies and accusing the organization of greed. His words were raw, emotional, and laced with years of bottled up resentment. You got the green belt, which don't mean the real belt is the ring belt. You can take the belt. It's just a trophy anyway. That single line sent shockwaves through the boxing world.
You, the WBC, and you got the fucking green belt, which don't mean fucking shit. Fucking real belt is the ring belt, which is free, motherfucker. Who you talking about? You want me to pay you more than the other sanction bodies because you feel like you better than them. How in the world all the sanction bodies agree to the same amount, but you sit your motherfucking ass up there and say that I need to apologize?
Some fans hailed him as a hero, finally exposing the hypocrisy of boxing's governing bodies. Others saw it as a meltdown, a legend damaging his own legacy. Even Errol Spence Jr., Crawford's longtime rival, weighed in point.
I mean, it makes sense, but I mean, I think he should have talked about it, you know, before, because now he's talking about it when he don't need the WBC anymore. And he should have talked about it, you know, way back when I said something, he should have spoke up and said something about it too, you know, so I don't know, man. It is what it is.
Makes sense, Spence said. But now he's talking when he doesn't need the WBC anymore. He should have said this back when it mattered. To some, Crawford sounded bitter. To others, he sounded liberated. But one thing was undeniable: he was no longer playing by boxing's rules. Then the next generation stepped in. Young star Keyshawn Davis didn't hesitate to defend Crawford.
I always say I never understand why we become champion have to pay for a belt. Keep that shit.
Yeah.
Keep it. I'm not gonna work 14, 15 years for me to pay for something I worked for. When I went to the Olympics, did I pay for that damn medal? No.
What many fighters have whispered for years, Davis said. I never understood why we become champion and have to pay for a belt. Keep that. He continued. When I went to the Olympics, did I pay for that medal? No. So keep the belt. I agree with Terrence.
If I walk into this arena without this belt, is these people still gonna show up? Yes. So keep the belt. You're not gonna take my money. With all due respect. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? I just feel like, so I agree with Terrence. You know what I'm saying? But I just don't agree with paying for belts. That's why for all the sanctioning bodies, you know what I'm saying? And I told this to the one that I was under, the WBO. I told him, I said, I don't really believe in that. And he explained why. And I was like, okay, but I still don't agree with it. You know what I mean? So like, I'm always gonna be like for not paying for belt, because what the fuck are we?
Voice what so many others were afraid to say. If I walk into this arena without this belt, people are still going to show up. So why the hell should I pay for it? For younger fighters, Crawford wasn't walking away, he was standing up. He was doing what no one else dared to do, challenging boxing's sacred institutions head on. But the establishment wasn't going to take that quietly. WBC President Mauricio Suleiman took a diplomatic tone, but the tension was clear.
With $225,000 going to the Jose Sulaiman Boxers Fund, which is to help former fighters in need. And it is just regrettable. Not even a thank you or I'm sorry, taking a different route. No response. I wish him the best. But this is not. The WBC is huge, it's great, it's about greatness, and I'm relieved, to tell you the truth.
I'm not going to entertain or get into a pissing contest with Terence Crawford, he told reporters. We care for the boxers. We wish him success in and out of the ring. He explained that sanctioning fees weren't about greed, but were meant to fund the Jose Sulaiman Boxers Fund, which provides financial support for retired and struggling fighters. But many fans weren't convinced. Meanwhile, veteran ring announcer Jimmy Lennon Jr. called the feud ugly and unfortunate.
I think, like Mauricio, I'm going to take a high road, but I will say it's unfortunate for the sport of boxing. I think talking about money too much, and it is not the high road. And so we've seen some kind of ugly and not so pretty things, exchanges happen here. And so it's unfortunate, but it is a reality. I think there's some things behind the scenes that I have heard about that aren't necessarily public yet.